Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be bringing you guys an injury update for Washington Commanders defensive end Chase Young. Give you guys an update on his, rehab, his recovery from his ACL injury, and then also expectations for him in 2022. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Also, I'd really appreciate if you could follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. Now, let's get right into the video. So last season obviously didn't go the way Chase Young wanted to. Had a little bit of a disappointing start, first half of the season, and then right after the bye, we wanted to see what he would do the second half of the season, and then of course he tears his ACL. I believe it was November 14th against the Bucks in that great win for the Washington football team. Then it's an unfortunate injury because, like I said, he had a pretty underwhelming first half of the season, and we wanted to see what he could do in the second half of the season. We weren't able to do that, so we're gonna have, this is a big year for Chase Young in 2022. But let's give an injury update on him before we go into kind of expectations for him this next year. So JP Finley said, Chase Young says he's making great progress in his rehab, not putting a timeline out there for his recovery after the knee injury. And ACLs vary. Some guys are able to come back in like 5-6 months, and others, bigger guys, not as athletic guys, it takes a long time. Like David Bakhtiari, he's not even fully back, and it was December in 2020. So it's like a year in like 3 months for him. Chase Young, though, he's athletic enough where I think he could come back in 6 months if he wanted to, and that would be in like May. So probably would miss OTAs. But he wouldn't, maybe not even go anyways. And right now he's training in Colorado, working on his recovery from ACL. And Ron Rivera said he's there with some very notable people. So he was just on a podcast with John Keim, and I want to go over some of the things that he said. So he was talking about Joe Burrow and the similarities between the two. Both of them went to Ohio State. And then I'll read this right here. That's what Young hopes for himself after tearing ACL in his right knee on November 14th. Almost a year after Burrow's injury, Chase Young has been rehabbing his knee in Colorado, saying he's already squatting 225 pounds and performing one-leg squats with weight on the back of his knee. He's jumping too, so those are great exercises, obviously, to do with an ACL injury, and if he's able to do that, that means he's progressing pretty well. 225 for him is nothing, but for a normal human being, that's a decent amount. And, also, he's just recovering from his ACL, so that is very, very impressive right there. And he, another quote he had, "I'm in the mindset of Rocky when he went to the mountains, chopping trees and things like that." Young said, referencing the movie Rocky, "I'm starting out blue collar, that grit, just getting that mindset. So when the season comes around, I'm ready to work." So, let's hope he's able to, be fully ready for the start of the season. Some other quotes that he had in the podcast as he sees his knee getting better every day. So that's good. It's good, that he hasn't had any setbacks or anything like that. No other damage to his knee. And he said he reached out to people who have gone through an ACL injury in the past to try to pick their brain. Like, he's really good friends with Markelle Fultz. They both went to high school together at DeMatha, and he, contacted him because Markelle Fultz recently, I think he's still recovering from that ACL injury, so he was able to pick his brain a little bit. And he said he's working in Colorado, and he's working with one of the best ACL guys out there, and he says his progress within the 2 weeks of being with this guy has grown a lot and has been tremendous. So that is good to hear. We need Chase Young back this year, and we need him at full strength for the offseason so he can be good to go once the season starts, get good chemistry with these guys on the defensive line. It's going to be his third year, and he had a full rookie year, but this past season really only played half of the year. So I'm really, really excited to see what Chase Young can do in his third year. Like I said earlier, this year is going to be an absolutely huge year for Chase Young. He had a good rookie year, one defensive rookie of the year, lived up to the expectations, but in his second year, did not do that at all. Had 1.5 sacks, in the first half of the season. I'll give him 2.5 because he did sack Matt Ryan, but they called roughing a passer on him when he barely touched him, but that would have been a sack, so whatever. He just had an underwhelming first half of the season, pretty much played in 8 games because he did tear his ACL in that, in the first half, I believe, of that Bucks game. So, it's not like he had a bad first half of the season. He was still getting some pressure. He was getting double teamed, but those were not the expectations we had for him going into the season, at least not that I had. I had, huge, very high expectations for him. I thought he was going to be, definitely a double-digit sack guy, like a 12, 13-plus sacks guy, and I thought he was going to be, I didn't think he was going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I thought he would be in that top 5, top 6 range, and, obviously, no point in the season was he anywhere close to that. And, yes, he's getting double teamed, he's getting chipped, but the elite guys always get double teamed, always get chipped, and still are able to get 10 plus sacks. I mean, you look at TJ Watt sometimes, especially Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, all of these guys get double teamed, get chipped on the outside, and still are able to, ball out. And he did have 2 forced fumbles, so that is good, but he's got to get to the quarterback more, and not just pressures, sacks as well, and he wasn't able to do that this year, and that's just, there's no other way to put it. He was underwhelming to start the season, and that's why it was really unfortunate that he had that ACL injury in that 9th game, because I really wanted, because it was just off the bye week, and I wanted to see how he would respond from that ACL injury, see how he could bounce back in the second half of the season, and of course he had the ACL injury, and that just really, really unfortunate for Washington and for him. And, they're not the same player, but I see a lot of similarities in just like how their careers have gone so far in, Nick Bosa and Chase Young. Obviously, both went to Ohio State. Both were number 2 overall picks in back-to-back drafts. And, Nick Bosa had a great year. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year, had a better year than Chase, but still won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and, took his team to the playoffs. And then the next year, he tears his ACL in his second year. Chase Young, second overall pick, like I said, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, took his team to the playoffs. Yes, it was 7-9, but still went to the playoffs. And then, tore his ACL the second year. And Nick Bosa had an absolutely amazing year this year. 15.5 sacks. So we don't need all the way that, we don't need all of that from Chase Young, but I'm just asking for, an improvement on that rookie year. So be better than that. If he can get to double-digit plus sacks, that would be good coming off the ACL injury. And honestly, I don't think the ACL injury isn't going to affect. Once he's back, I really don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I don't think he's going to lose explosiveness. You look at these guys, Nick Bosa, totally fine. So many guys recover from ACL injuries. It's just the time factor of how long it knocks guys out for. So let's hope he will be able to be back well with, before the start of the season, so he can ramp himself up, so it's not like he's back 3 or 4 weeks before the start of the season. And, if it is a 6-month recovery time, he should be fully back to go in May, but it's not always going to be that. So I feel like he might be doing some light work. If he does go to OTAs, he will do some light work. Like, he won't do any drills at all, like actual contact drills. And then I think they will bring him back for training camp, and I think he will be good to go then. And, one thing I like from him, he has been very, very quiet this offseason, not posting, these offseason videos of him working out, of him progressing from his rehab, really hasn't been tweeting much at all. And I like that. He's quiet. He's just working, trying to get himself back to 100%, and I love that. He's not trying to be flashy on social media, posting the videos, and there's no big issue with that, but I like that he's focusing 100% on his recovery and his rehab from that ACL injury, and let's hope he can come back stronger than ever. Number 2 overall pick. He is super, super talented. I don't know if I don't think the pairing between him and Sam Mills is the best for Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I would have really liked if Washington would have moved on from Sam Mills this, offseason, get another guy that can really help develop Chase Young and Montez Sweat's pass rush moves, but they didn't do that at the end of the day, so we'll see. If Chase Young and Montez Sweat have down years this year, I mean, you really have to consider, I mean, you absolutely have to move on from Samuel. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.